Amy was a kind and pretty woman. She had long black flowing hair. She was quiet and soft-spoken, kind, compassionate, and fair. She served faithfully her family, busy rushing to and fro. To her children she spoke gently, but when scolding, a firm no.
Yeah, so she drove us all the way out here to read this poem. This lady's not even dead. She's not dead. That is a living lady. She's reading this to us. It's the strangest thing.
No matter what the test, she tried to never fail, by always doing her best like Jesus, with each driven nail.
And it's all for this fucking Halloween special.
I don't know. I'm only in the Halloween specials.
Yeah, that's most of us at this point. No.
Where am I? Is that J-Rod? No! Not the psychic powers! No!
Oh.
Ah!
Do not resist.
Ah!
Jen, wake up! Wake up! It's not working. Go into the bag. You gotta get the headphones and the cell phone. We need the music. Passcode.
Hello, Jen. It's been an awful long time since I've seen you, but I suppose that makes sense. You hardly ever post new videos anymore. No, all you do is release old material or outsource to your little boyfriend. The fat one that looks like Jack Black in an off-Broadway production of Joe Dirt. And once a year you do a little more work than usual, and we get this. Another half-baked vanity project about some poor religious woman who didn't do a thing to you. But that's just it, isn't it? You really don't want this anymore, do you? You've lost your edge. You've gone soft. You're kind to the Fundys, and you make them look nice. I'm starting to think you may even agree with some of them. Why don't you just go back to Crumble, Make cookies and take orders. That's where you really belong. Besides, it's not a big jump. Mormons already pay your salary anyway. All you know how to do is tell bad jokes about good Christians.
Absolutely not. We cannot get sued. I am not giving Paula White any more money. No, I already made Jen listen to that one for 2 years. She hates it now. Almost. We're almost there.
You don't deserve a channel like this. You don't deserve that silver play button. You don't deserve the love of the people like the Jennonites. They believed in you. They built you up, and all you do is waste their time. Fundy Friday shouldn't even exist, and I'm here to destroy it once and for all. Not with copyright strikes, though, oh no. I'm gonna make you delete the whole thing yourself because you know it's the right thing to do. Lawson Bates was right about you all along, and I am here to finish what he started!
Wait a minute. Lawson Bates isn't right about anything.
Got it. Cool. All right. Music. I gotta find the music and the Bluetooth are not working.
No!
Not the way.
And I'm gonna roll in like a thunderstorm, softly rock you in my arms, steady as the river runs, strong as a hurricane. I wanna be the thing you need the most, be that song in your soul, the one you know is gonna wash your cares away. I wanna love you like the rain.
Oh. Jen, are you awake?
Yeah. I just had the strangest dream. You were there, and you were there, and the Jennonites were there too.
They were there?
They told me that with the power of the Jennonites, I can continue to annoy Lawson Bates forever. And the strangest thing about all of this was the friends we made along the way.
You.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am Jen and this is Fundy Fridays, and this is the very severely scary spooky 4th annual Jill Rodrigues Halloween special. It also happens to be, drumroll please, the 100th episode officially of Fundy Fridays. So
We did it, Joe.
I want everybody to pat themselves on the back for being a subscriber, for putting in the hours, grind 110%. Could not be doing this without you guys, and truly I am living my wildest dreams. I am truly thriving and living my best life because of this channel, because of you guys, because of your love, encouragement, and all those lovey-dovey things. I get to do this. James gets to do this full time. I mean, he has 2 fucking college degrees, and he quit his full-time job to work on Fundy Fridays, and we're doing better than ever, and I just can't believe I get to do this for a living. I like to do a State of the Union address every year during the Halloween specials just because it's a nice time to reflect on things. I know my morals and ethics and things are ever changing and evolving, and what better time to bring it up, especially with Jill, because she is such a polarizing figure. She's kind of a litmus test for like the Fundy Snark community because she's not actually famous. She's just a part of what I'm calling now, trademark, the Duggar effect. And that would be like the ripple effect of media and politics and religion after the Duggars got their show, and then Josh happening. So I just think it's interesting because she's famous to us. She's very niche famous in the Fundy Snark community. She's always trying to get her own TLC spinoff, and she teases us constantly with it. I would just die. I don't even know what they would do. I mean, I used to think it was impossible that Jill would get her own show until I saw the clips of the unaired Gwen Shamblin pilot. So I'm like, they're just giving it to anybody. Also, we really have to be careful about the classism and ableism that goes along with snarking on the Rodrigues family. Like I said, I used to do it, and hopefully I won't in this special. As always, just fucking call me out if I do something wrong. But I really am going to try my best. I'm trying to not show images of children because they can't consent to being on my show, and that is really hard when I deal with Quiverful families because they have a million children, and it's even harder with Jill because she likes to film random strangers, and as cringe as that is, it's also very inappropriate and it's hard for me to edit. I recently watched all of my previous Rodrigues specials. It's just crazy how much my confidence grows each year, and right now I'm in my villain era. I'm mean now and I don't give a fuck, so I'm ready to fight people. So this is the 4th annual Jill Rodrigues special. Congratulations to me. This is probably one of the only episodes that I don't have a script for. I just have notes because I talk about the Rodrigues family so much that I think I have this down at this point. Also, very weird. I don't know if Jill has anything to do with this or just a coincidence, but there are no entries for Jill Rodrigues on the Fundy Wikia or the 19 Kids and Counting wiki. So I would like to know why there are pages for David and Nuri, but not Jill. I don't know if there's anything else I should bring up before we begin. If you're confused by the intro to this video and you've never seen a Jill Rodrigues special, I am so fucking sorry. There's like 4 or 5 levels of irony and backstory and like esoteric shit that I'm sorry. Basically, I do a little movie spoof and they get more and more ridiculous and complex each year, and this year was Stranger Things 4 because it's the 4th episode of the J-Rod special, and because I just got done watching that one this summer. Now that I'm done being a nerd, let's talk about the actual stuff here. I don't have her middle name written down. I'm sure you guys will tell me in the comments. Jill Noyes was born November 3rd, 1978, and she is from Rochester, New York, so is David, her husband. She was raised Fundy, she was homeschooled. She also eventually got a cosmetology license, and you can tell that she essentially froze her style and, by extension, her daughter's style to the exact year that she graduated cosmetology school, because she's still doing the same eyebrows, makeup, because they look very 90s with the plucked eyebrows, the brown lipstick. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but those were trends in the 90s. And they're actually coming back. So, Jill, just wait a little bit longer. Trends are cyclical. Eventually we'll land back on the big crunchy hair and the green eyeliner. But for right now, you're kind of in that limbo. Also, in Jill's autobiography on her website, she says, Jill's parents felt burdened to pull their girls out of school and homeschool them. They were one of the pioneering homeschoolers of the 80s, and they did a great job. But she has 2 sisters that are twins, and the thing about her sister Amy is that she was in a massive car accident. she's quadriplegic now, and the only way that we know that is because Jill talks about it constantly, and that's not even the only time that she does this fucking exploitative, fucked up shit like that. There's a video or a picture, I'll put it up on the screen, where Jill's like, oh, look at my sister Amy's twin. This is what she looked like before her accident.
You may not realize that Amy is an identical twin to Angie. And so this is what Amy looked like when she could walk and all of that. And so
pretty much directly after the accident, Jill went to the hospital, took a bunch of selfies with her sister while she's all hooked up to all the tubes and the machinery, and she's like slowly panning up like from her feet to her head and like showing all the gory stuff, just being totally inappropriate. And that's one of the other things that I've had to change about my style on this channel is I don't want to show that stuff again. I will gladly describe it to you, and you are more than welcome to go watch the old specials and see that footage, but I don't want to play it anymore. And in the same hospital stint, Jill had a baby gender reveal in the cafeteria, and she was raising money for a stroller, which she already had plenty of, and like, it's not like her sister actually got to go to the baby shower gender reveal, because it was in the cafeteria and Amy was up in the ICU. I almost forgot. Oh my god, shame on me. The most fucked up thing that Jill has ever done was writing a poem and having an entire eulogy for her sister's legs. Her sister is very much alive. She's doing amazing. She's in a wheelchair, but like, that's it. Like, she didn't die. And it's really rude and inappropriate to write a whole like monologue about all the things that she's gonna miss out on and how their lives are different now and how everything is terrible. Like, really? You can't support your sister any other way?
No matter what the test, she tried never to fail by always doing her best, like Jesus with each driven nail. On April 3rd, 2015, a horrible car accident. Each 6 children, with a scream, wondered what it meant. Amy sat on her side the car, twisted body and broken neck. The ambulance seemed so far, while Kevin cared for his wife at the wreck.
Really great. You know who wasn't in the audience? Amy, the sister that she's fucking talking about. Anyway, oh yeah, she also crashed a funeral of a family who lost their children and their home in a fire, and she was taking selfies and live streaming. And Jill's always making weird comments about her kids' bodies, you know, only furthering the stereotype that maybe Jill is a terrible mother.
darling, are you expecting? Oh, wow. What's in there? Is a baby in there? Oh, it's a balloon. Well, congratulations, ma'am. You look great with child.
That's like mild. At Philip's graduation, she made an offhanded comment about him not being Mr. Popularity.
I love that Philip is not concerned with winning a popularity contest, but rather seeks to please God first and foremost.
But shit, if you are homeschooling your children and they're not popular, doesn't that mean that they're being bullied by their siblings?
Gabriel, you were in the video. You need to get out. You're right on the ad on that wall that I'm on.
According to this AMA, which is allegedly verified from somebody who knew the Duggars, apparently Norie's kind of a bitch. And you know what? She probably has earned every right to be. Having to be raised by Jill and be the oldest sister mom and, like, having to marry a Keller, yeah. She can be a bitch all she wants. Jill's husband David is affectionately known as Shrek in the Fundy Snark community, although it has been noted that he looks more like the troll from the first Harry Potter movie. And I agree with that because, you know, I would like people to put some respect on Shrek's name, please. He's actually a good father, and he makes sure his kids always have food on the table, and he loves his wife and never pressures her to change her looks. So I don't appreciate calling David Shrek. David was born May 29th, 1972, and apparently he had a rough life growing up. His brother was a Vietnam veteran who died by suicide, and now he has to be married to Jill. So I wouldn't wish that fate on anyone. Famously, David does not have a job. and his family relies on the kindness of strangers and like host families at various churches that they visit to take care of their bills, their food, all that stuff. Jill and her family always accept donations, and they do sell CDs and books. I have the newest book, and I did get their newest CD, and I would like to note that it was cracked, so thanks, Jill. Unless a child packed this, then I'm not mad, and you did nothing wrong. But anyways, I don't have a CD player, so I don't know. Like, can somebody tell them that we're doing MP3s now? Plus, people would be more likely to buy it if it was, like, digital. They might buy it to make fun of it like I did, but at least they're buying it. Oh, Jill. Hopefully it pays for food, but most likely it will pay for another trip to SeaWorld. David is the owner/operator of All Things Truth Printing, which they print tracts, and not even good ones, not even chick tracts. They print generic tracts. I did consider buying some, but the problem is they only come in increments of 1,000. So I've been thinking, and I just want to hear from you guys, do you think I should buy them? Because it's only $80 for 1,000, and like, what if I signed them or like gave them out to people if like they met me? I don't know. I think it would be a fun way to reuse those for good. But also it goes along with the like giving money to them. But like, I donate money every month to 10 abortion fundraisers. And I did when I bought this book. There's like a charity option you can select with like your PayPal, and I gave money to Earth Justice, so hopefully that helps. I don't know. We will read this in just a little bit. So they sell these tracts, and David is technically a preacher, just like I'm technically a bitch. So he'll go to various churches, do a guest lecture, and then the family will sing, and hopefully they get fed and housed for a few days. They own their RV, although I do believe it was gifted to them, and they did live in the RV for quite a while. The most notable thing to me about the RV living situation was the fact that there were 2 baby cages on there for the youngest children, and they are cages because they had bars on all sides. One of them was in their cabinets where like a microwave used to be, and then the other one was at the bottom of one of their closets, and they put the bars on top so that the clothes wouldn't fall on the baby. And I would argue, well, at that point, maybe you have too much stuff, not enough room for the baby. They don't live in the RV anymore. It's a barn turned into a house. David was converted at a mall soon after he started taking an interest in a teenage Jill. I don't have the exact ages on me right now, but I'll throw them on the screen because I remember last year I had the ages wrong and it was actually worse than what I had remembered. But it was something like 14 or 16. And he was in his 20s, and so they eventually got married in the 90s.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, for God hath joined together, amen, for the Son, and kiss the bride. Make kiss the bride. Mr. and Mrs. David Rodrigues.
I also have a chapter in the book about David and Jill. I haven't looked through this book too much. I just got it yesterday. I know, I haven't done a lot of research. It's very short, and it's also like very weird. Jill Rodrigues was raised in a godly Christian home in Rochester, New York. She officially, quote-unquote, met the love of her life in her senior year of high school in 1997. David proposed marriage to Jill in a horse and buggy, 1997, New York City, Central Park. After she graduated from both homeschool and cosmetology school, that's even worse, they served together in churches in New York for the first 15 years, helped a few printing ministries, then did printing full-time, moved to Ohio, started a ladies' retreat, then moved to Amish country. Now they live in a bardominium, that's how you say it, house that David and the boys have turned into a beautiful, cozy dwelling. Connected to the house is a large building where the printing ministry All Things Truth print shop operates. Well, I could have told you that. Blah, blah, blah. Down through the years of their marriage, Jill has thus far had 18 pregnancies. Unfortunately, 5 of them ended in a miscarriage. She didn't say severe there. Of their living children, they have 9 girls and 4 boys. They are a huge blessing and joy. Their names are Nari, Timothy, Kaylee, Renee, Phillips, Samuel, Gabriel, Tessie, Hannah, Olivia, Sadie, Sophia, and Janessa. Jill's passions are loving and serving the Lord by being faithful to Him, being a helpmate to her best friend, her husband, training and homeschooling the children, serving at their local Baptist church in various capacities, volunteering at the local pro-life pregnancy center, crafting, decorating, gardening, and simply living life to its fullest. Let's see, here's some pictures. You can see David getting baptized, Jill at 18 years old, graduating, got their wedding. Here's just some more family photos. The new grandbaby. So in this chapter here that I dog-eared because I thought it sounded funny enough to read. After church was over and we were leaving the building, my pastor stopped me and asked me how old I was. My answer was 18. He thanked me and walked on. I was curious why he was asking my age. Okay. Later, my pastor called my parents and wanted to talk to them. I had a funny feeling that it had something to do with a guy. Sure enough, my parents were called to a meeting with my pastor that night after church. I drove home with my sisters in another vehicle while my parents stayed at the church for the meeting. My heart was all aflutter, and I had a constant prayer on my lips. When my parents arrived home, they confirmed that the meeting did indeed have something to do with a guy that was interested in me. Really? I exclaimed. Who is he? I asked. All we're going to tell you is that he is a young man that has inquired about you from a church that we support as a missionary church. Oh, I said, can I at least guess who he is? Sure, they doubtfully replied. Is his name David Rodrigues? I questioned. My parents looked at each other with shock at their faces. They confirmed that I had guessed the right young man, but how had I known anything about him? I will go back about 2 years. The church that I had grown up in had a college and career class, and when I was a teenager, I had noticed a new guy starting to attend that class. I thought that he was handsome. He noticed our family when we sang specials, but he was not interested in me because I was only a teen, and he was in his early 20s. For a short time, we were involved in a musical string group together. David played the guitar, and I played the banjo along with other musicians and their instruments. As time passed, my dad took a job transfer to another area in New York State, and we had to move. When we went back to visit that church for a Christmas play one year, I was 16 years old. David noticed me at that time. He has reminisced to me that when he saw me, he thought I was beautiful and wished that maybe a relationship may happen between us. As soon as that thought entered his mind, though, he dismissed it. Well, thank God he waited for the exact, legal time to be interested. No way, that would never work. You could never get a girl like that, his conscience unfairly told him. A few months later, he moved to New York City to help a missionary family start a new church, so when our family would go back to the previous church to visit, I would no longer see David. As the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind. Then I began cosmetology classes, became busy with school, did hair competitions. Okay, I'm gonna skip forward here. During our courtship, I would refrain from eating for short periods of time and spend much time in fasting and prayer. What the fuck? I remember one day when I was struggling with doubt and wanting to make sure that David was the right one, it began to rain outside. I looked up towards heaven and asked the Lord that if David was surely the right one for me, that God would put a rainbow in the sky for me. I immediately rose from praying and went downstairs. I opened the door to the outside and went out and looked upward. Lo and behold, there in the sky was not just one rainbow, but 2. So you're telling me God sent a double rainbow to confirm that you need to marry this ugly-ass man? Okay. My mom is a pretty and friendly woman, but she was not taught these principles as a young lady. Therefore, she had 7 different men propose marriage to her, and her rejection to the first 6 men unneededly broke their hearts. Then they shouldn't have fucking asked. Although this made her feel very wanted, it left her emotionally scarred and tempted her to sometimes compare her husband, my dad, with her past lovers. As you enter this season of courtship, purpose in your heart to do it God's way. If you do this, you will keep yourself from much heartache. Well, thanks, Jill. I was struggling, and then I read your book, and now I'm struggling even more. So, her oldest daughter, Nari, is married to Nathan Keller, who is of the Keller family, who is in-laws with the Duggars. Anna Duggars maiden name is Keller. Her sister is Priscilla, who married a man named David. He's known as the pecan thief because him and Priscilla once stole a bunch of pecans from a farm, and they said they were gleaning them. That's a whole other thing. And then she does have a sister who left fundamentalism. She's got a brother who offered to take her in after the first Josh scandal, and she said no. But anyway, she has a brother named Nathan who is quite young, and he is married to Nari. And I'm gonna give you a mind fuck. The very last Jill Rodrigues special, I was talking about how she just had released the video of the wedding, and she had just announced that she was pregnant. Nari was pregnant with her first baby, and she's already had her first baby, and now she's pregnant again in the year that preceded the last episode. That's how fast time flies in Fundy world. Like many people, were very upset that Jill throws herself these elaborate, unnecessary baby showers and pamper mama parties when she hasn't done jack shit, doesn't even raise her own kids. And then she gives her daughter crappy events like a gender reveal on the side of the road with cardboard, an offhanded mention of somebody's birthday in a post that's about something else. Like, she really doesn't care. In this clip, she's like talking about Nari's stomach, and she's like, "Ooh, you're much smaller than I was." And it's just like, this is why they have body issues, you fucking mean bitch.
Here is my pregnant daughter. Like what, how far along are you, Nari? 25?
23, yeah, almost 23 weeks.
23 weeks, and she basically is not even as big as my stomach yet.
Oh, that's so not true.
Teeny little stomach.
Her and Nathan were in a car accident a few months ago. Thank God they're okay, but Jill fucking made that weird too. This was in the first special. Nari and a sister got into a wreck, and they were all bloody and beaten up, and Jill posted selfies with them, and she goes, "Well, thank goodness they were so trim, so they were able to get through the windows." Yeah, she's always talking about whores and fat people, and she's just very judgmental, even though like she literally looks like Mimi from the Drew Carey Show. This is just from my notes, a list of all of the terrible things that I could remember. Exploiting her sister Amy. Now she's exploiting her mom, who had an aneurysm, and she's like posting photoshopped pictures. Like, I know this looks fake, this looks like somebody's making fun of her, but Jill actually posted this, like, "What my mama used to look like," and she'll post like, "Summer travels, mama's brain bleed, sad face." Oh, she sells Plexus, which is a MLM. It's like a nutritional drink. I don't condone selling any MLMs, but she has the little kids sell it. She claims that it cures fucking everything. She's always going to these retreats, and like Plexus retreats. She's always complaining about her children's complexion. She's called more than one of her daughters her dark baby. And yeah, bitch, what? Last year I talked about them swimming in a sewer.
It was. Where's Maria? Girls, rescue her.
She stopped! Maria, we're out! Maria, where are you?
Is she coming?
And that's only controversial because people were like, that's not a sewer, it's a water drainage ditch. They shouldn't be swimming in that either. They're always disrespecting like public monuments, artifacts, different things like that, crawling on shit, taking pictures where they're not supposed to, being loud, disrespectful. She'll go to Amish country, take a bunch of pictures of the people, and then make a post saying they're all in a cult. Why are you there? Explain that. Lack of car safety, yeah, nobody wears seatbelts. It's poor education, of course, nothing wrong with homeschooling, but the way that they're doing it, they might as well be watching paint dry, they would learn more. Begging for money to pay for Timmy's flight school, and then, like, spending it on lavish vacation. Oh, this is not morally wrong, it's just gross. She has an upholstered chair right next to her toilet where she films her podcast. She says it's for the sound. I understand that. Still gross. You know, maybe if you close the lid, the spray won't get everywhere, but I'd still be suspect of that one. My camera is about to shut off, and I'm like racing the clock to get these out here. She got a transgender woman fired from IHOP. They sang a homophobic farm song in the last one. We'll play that for you. Something else I forgot to mention was her, like, associations or attempted associations with more famous fundies. Jill really wants to be famous and she wants attention. That's why I don't feel bad when I snark about her, because this is all brought on by her. We're kind of friends with the Plaths. I don't know to what extent. Jill always takes pictures with every D-list fundy that she can. She's got lots of pictures with all sorts of Duggars and their in-laws. She wore white to Michael Abate's wedding. They're friends with the Pearls of No Greater Joy Ministry, To Train Up a Child. They're child abusers. Super awkward. It's just very obvious that Jill wants people to be like, see, I'm friends with these people, give me a show. She married Nuri off to Nathan Keller. Josh was actually the MC at Nuri's reception, and this would have had to have been before he was arrested, because when he was in custody he couldn't leave the house, let alone host a wedding. But I included footage of that in the last one. I'll replay it again. It's very weird because we all know what Josh was doing at that time, and the fact that he's just like, yeah, get yourself something to eat, blah, blah, blah.
Thank you for this food and this time of fellowship that we can have. May everything that we say, everything we do today bring honor and glory to you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, go ahead and dig in here, enjoy some snacks, and we're going to visit a little bit, and as they make their way in, we'll make a few more announcements. Hopefully you got enough olives, carrots, cheese, Chex Mix.
Jill attended Ginger Duggar's wedding. She's in the audience on the 19 Kids and Counting episode. Prior to that, I don't know how the hell they didn't like send security out to keep her from going in, but Jill actually leaked the details of Ginger's wedding. She is the reason why there were paparazzi at Ginger's wedding, which was a whole plot point on the show because it was very stressful. And like, not only is that stressful and disrespectful, but it's also incredibly dangerous. I know the microphone is like giving me some contour. Oh. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, it's very dangerous that she leaked that information, and it was on accident. She held up the wedding invitation, like, I put a picture of it online, so it had the address and everything. That's just really dangerous. If anything ever happens, it would have been because of her. But anyway, she's not invited to other Duggar weddings now. Since the last time Kaylee was in a courtship, now they are engaged. And here's the video.
That's a good one. If you angle yourself a little bit more this way. That one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Okay, ready? You were taking it on the phone for them too? Okay, and then maybe let's look that way and
When I first met you, you were way more than I expected. With your care for others and heart for the Lord, you have completely won my heart. I love you, Kaylee. Will you marry me?
Yes. It's so funny.
Timmy, of course, has been working hard on his Stand Strong podcast, which is all about young men and their struggles with lust, but it's mostly about how women are whores.
There's not many guys or girls out there that dress this way anymore, think this way anymore, and it's just hard. Why do I know this? Because I've thought those same exact things. Maybe you say, I've been single for 5 years, I've been graduated for a while, I'm 25 years old, I'm still not married. I've thought, God, am I doing something wrong? Help me to just serve you more, be more faithful to you. For the lips of a strange woman drop as honeycomb. but her end is bitter as wormwood. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Did you hear that? Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. That is talking about the harlot. That's talking about someone that's walking around dressed terribly into every single guy that she sees. If any guy is looking for a good, godly girl, you go to Proverbs 31 and it gives you a detailed description of what you should be looking for.
Something that Timmy neglected to bring up on his podcast would be that he says that he would date his sisters if they weren't inconveniently related to him. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why is Timmy still single when he can do sick flips like this? If that doesn't woo the ladies, Timmy, I know what will, okay? A big ass knife. Oh my god. In this video that I'm about to show you, Timmy is like advertising his upcoming podcast, which by the way, it's taken him 8 months, which, hey, no shade. It took me like 6-7 months to make the 3rd episode of my podcast too. He's like going on a long rant about slut shaming and then he hits several potholes.
You don't know what's gonna happen in the next 10 minutes. You could get in a car accident and be dead. DOA.
Motherfucker, I think you're gonna die in the next 10 seconds if you don't start paying attention to the road.
I'm trying. I want to see if I can flip the screen around. I've never been able to figure out how to, well, now I just made a square box on my phone that's like right over my mouth. I don't know what I just did. But I was trying to flip it around to show you all the beautiful sunset that I'm actually headed toward.
Then there's this other video where Timmy's going on a road trip to see his family because apparently his Spirit Airlines ticket got canceled or whatever. And then he has to get on a ferry. I know. This is me trying to resist the urge to not make a fucking ferry joke, okay? And if I don't get to make the joke, then neither should you, because I will be very jealous. Wow, I'm actually done. Wow, I'm actually done. That's the end of my notes. In conclusion, I didn't write a conclusion. Shit, if that makes me unprofessional, I'm sorry. I gave you a whole 5-minute theatrical intro, satire, parody of Stranger Things, okay? But in all seriousness, I really think Jill is a terrible person. I don't know to what extent like her power holds. I don't know what the future holds for the kids. I don't know if she's ever gonna get a TV show. I don't know if she's ever gonna stop exploiting people and having this tacky behavior, and I don't know, every year it just gets worse and worse as her family grows and the Fundy Snark community evolves. It just, I don't know, it just really makes you think. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I look forward to it all year. I do try to keep tabs on the Rodrigues family all year. Usually I just like save the post and then I come back in October and I reread everything. The same things that I say about all Fundys apply to her. Her beliefs are very dangerous. They have real life political implications. They are very patriarchal and controlling, and it's not a good environment for the girls. I mean, even the boys too. There is rampant alleged child abuse. There was an AMA a few years ago from somebody who claimed to know Timmy, and this was unverified, but it kind of seemed like they knew what they were talking about, saying that the kids got hit with alarm clocks. I think it's inappropriate to contact them, as always. I think the Funny Snark community in general is getting nicer. This year I didn't have any like fucked up photoshops to report or like weird DMs that people have sent Jill. Is it wrong to give her money? Probably, but like it's not very much. It's like $12, so I don't know. She projects her insecurities onto her poor daughters. She educationally neglects them, and she's always shoving a camera in their face. These kids have no boundaries, and they're forced to smile for the camera and just do whatever Jill wants, and she just lives in this very bizarre, uncanny, weird life, and it's equal parts sad and absurd. But it's also like, you gotta be careful, because I don't want to make fun of her just because she's like poor or Christian or whatever. Like, I'm making fun of her because I think she's a terrible person, and I think that there are people who, when they watch Jill's exploits, it reminds them of their family, and they kind of get like some peace knowing that they aren't the only ones who are raised that way. And this is all just another piece of the puzzle here. I had a great time making this episode and filming it and setting up my little Halloween situation. I love you guys. If you enjoy my channel, remember to consensually smash that like and subscribe button. Follow me on social media. I have merch available at bonfire.com. $3 a month gets you access to the Discord as well as our monthly Patreon streams. Please be safe out there. I love you guys, and rock on, I guess.
If
Hi,
this
Jen.
guy's
I
name
love you
is
so
his
much.
real
McKay,
name-
shut up.
Sorry.
Jen, I love you so very much. Oh, you want me to say something for the Rod video? My mom
For the J-Rod
looks
video?
like Jill. It's really quite horrifying, and they also kind of act similar. So I feel like I have vicarious trauma from Jill. Jen, I don't know if that's what you wanted.
It's the holy foursome.
It's the reason
Jen, James, Jordan, McKay. I'm the oddball out.
The reason I have, this is so unhinged today, oh my god. The reason I have internet friends is because the people in real life tend not to tolerate me, and I've trapped McKay with a child, and so he can't go anywhere, at least for right now. And so all the other friends I have are on the internet, thus Jen and James. So it's
Internet friends. Grew up with Anna Duggar. Did an AMA on r/Fundy Snark, or Duggar
I
Snark.
did see that.
We saw that.
I did see that. Oh, Nuri.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.